Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
The traveler is tired, the sun will soon set. I once was inspired, but why I forget. I've seen through the city and all that it's not. Really, I don't need a lot. Just build me a cabin, surround me with snow, 'cause I'd love to go where there's nowhere to go, with someone beside me, sipping on tea, and under the Afghan will be, only be. Well, the rats have all scurried, the streets are all bare. Tomorrow the hurried and worried and scared will be scratching the sidewalks for a last piece of cheese. And all I can ask you is please, just build me a cabin, surround me with snow, 'cause I'd love to go where there's nowhere to go, with someone beside me, sipping on tea, and under the Afghan only be. The kettle is calling from over the stove. Never a fire was so lovingly felt under drifts that the winter winds drove, in a world where the snows never melt. And hour after hour I sit and I stare, watching the faces emerge from the glare. They rise and descend into dust. I don't want to leave, but I know that I must. I must. I must. I must. So armed with an image, I will walk with the blind. My road is a rough one, to this I'm resigned. But when searching for solace, it's not very far. It's whenever I grab my guitar. I'm stuck in a cabin, surrounded with snow, and happy to be someone beside me sipping on tea, and under the Afghan with me. So build me a cabin, surround me with snow, 'cause I'd love to go where there's nowhere to go. With someone beside me sipping on tea, under the Afghan will be, only be.
The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and the man we've been listening to, there's a great quote about him from Chris Smith, who is the music editor of Performing Songwriter magazine. He said, "The only bad thing about this guy, his show, is that it ends. I wish I could install him in my living room and insert a quarter in his ear to get my daily fix." The fellow is Eric Schwartz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Eric plays in a lot of coffee houses in New York City, all the kinds of places where they won't book me.
Sorry. What is this? Is this your revenge session? Are you gonna like abuse me for half an hour?
No.
So do you know the guy who books the? No, I swear they won't book me either.
Well, good. But nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about that song. What was the name of that?
Called Only Be. I wrote that song. I started that song while looking out a window in a Motel 6 in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, with the snow coming down. And I have a house. My parents have a house in Vermont, which is kind of my solace and my refuge. So I just started thinking about that when I was kind of on tour. I was on tour as an actor and being adored by lots of underage teenage girls on my high school tour, which was of dubious enjoyment, naturally. But
how could you miss with that? What were you acting in?
I was in El Barbero de Sevilla, the Barber of Seville, done in Spanish and in English to teach high school students Spanish.
Neat.
And we were taking a tour for half of the country, and we ended up in Sheboygan. And by the time we got somewhere around Sheboygan, I said, if I'm gonna act, if I'm gonna be on stage doing really bad material, I'm gonna write that bad material. So at that point, I became a songwriter. And actually, I walked out into the field that night. It was a big golf course. It was like a foot of snow on the ground. And I just walked out, and I asked the stars, am I supposed to be a singer-songwriter and actor? And the stars said lawyer, but I ignored them. Sorry, no. So I decided to be a singer-songwriter. When I got back to New York, I started getting into the clubs, and pretty soon I was a regular in Greenwich Village.
Well, we both know how hard it is to make a living as a musician. I once met an actor who was, for his supplemental income, he was a musician.
Isn't that amazing? Well, here's the difference. This is my setup. I don't need lights. I don't need a director. I don't even need an audience. I just need a bar. Sorry? What is it?
An easy show to bring with you.
Easy show to bring with you, and you do everything yourself. And so I found it a lot. There's more opportunities to make money that way.
So give us another piece of your show.
Okay. Well, actually, since we're talking about theater, this next song is on my more theatrical side. I do a lot of humorous, ta-da kind of stuff. This would be in that category. This works better with an audience of about 2,000 screaming fans, by the way. But just because of the laughter factor. So, you guys.
All that means is that each person in here has to act like 1,000 people.
Right. How did the union feel about that? This all started when I was sitting in my apartment and I heard this noise, and I down under where the TV was sitting, and this cockroach comes crawling out, desperately trying to get away from the dust bunnies that were clinging to his legs. And so we killed him. Anyway, so this is where that song comes from. Well, it was 3 a.m. and I awoke to nature's calling. And on the way past the fridge, I heard the sound of something falling. I summoned up my courage and I opened up the door. And when the light came on, baby, I screamed and I swore. 'Cause humming and a burping and a gurgling, a greeting was a cockroach the size of the endive he was eating. Well, he was sipping on soda and jiggling the gelatin, and looking so cool in his exoskeleton. He had a little Stratocaster hidden underneath the shell. He tuned it in the butter bin and started to well. So I said, who the hell are you? And he said, man, I just don't know. I found myself here on the shelf a couple of years ago. At first it was survival that was keeping me alive, but I got that lick, my habits kicked, and now I've lost my drive. I've been living in the dark so long, but now I see the light, and the light ain't very pretty, so I think I'll say goodnight. But he was sipping on soda and jiggling the gelatin, hey, looking so cool in his exoskeleton. He had a little Stratocaster hidden underneath the shell. I saddled up my saxophone and taught him how to wail. Ooh. And so he climbed down the corn husk, bounced off the bread. He looked me in the eyes, and I'll tell you what he said. He said, life's a curse, this universe is playing with my head. And he said, sometimes, man, I just wish I were dead. That's why. What? So I stepped on him. And in a fit of guilt, I screamed out, I just killed Kafka. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. He was crawling across the floor. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't want to do it. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. But I knew it'd make more. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I showed him the solace of the sole of my shoe, and now it's nothing but a steaming pile of goo. So I scraped up his remains and I flushed him down the drain. A little bit of crunchy stuff, a little bit of brain. 2 parts broken heart, 3 parts pain. And add to that a healthy bit of scholarly disdain. And now I really miss him, but he's never really gone. 'Cause whenever that refrigerator light comes on, I hear him sipping on soda and jiggling the gelatin. Hey, looking so cool in his exoskeleton. He had a little Stratocaster hidden underneath the shell. So I saddled up my saxophone and taught him how to wail. But I just killed Kafka. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. He was crawling across the floor. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't want to do it. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. But I knew it'd make more. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. And so I showed him the solace of the sole of my shoe, and now it's nothing but a steaming pile of goo. Kafka. Yeah. Thank you, Jersey. We're
That's
in
right,
Jersey,
folks. We
in
are
Jersey,
taping
too.
in New Jersey.
We're in New Jersey. Thank you. Yeah, great backgrounds on the CD. They have great background singers. These 2 women sipping on soda. The best question I got was, exoskeleton? We've never had to sing this before. So.
You want to give them a plug? Who are your background singers on the album?
Okay. We
Can he remember?
Conchetta Gordon and Patty, I believe it's Unitas. I never heard her say it, but I think the way I heard it, it was Patty Unitas and Conchetta Gordon.
Johnny's sister.
Right, yes. She got her leg broken earlier in her career. I had to switch to singing.
So let's show folks this recording, which contains that very song.
That very song.
Which is called
I Just Killed Kafka.
I Just Killed Kafka.
Yes.
And if folks want to get in touch with Eric to find out where he's performing or find out information about this recording, You can get him at 908-289-0744. I guess that's your management.
That's my management company, yes.
Or you can go to his website, which is easy to remember, www.ericschwartz.com. And I'm sure there's all kinds of information about the album and
There's
schedule and so forth.
Album
there.
schedule, CD reviews from the Boston Globe, and all sorts of fun stuff like that.
You're right.
Yep. So
Funny song.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those songs I kind of wanted to forget as soon as I wrote. I played it out. You know, it took me, what, 10 minutes or something ridiculous like that. So I played it at a show one night, and people liked it. And they kept requesting it, which really annoyed me because I wanted to forget that I ever wrote it, and it clawed and it scratched its way and it ended up on the CD. It's like a cockroach, except it won't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A friend of mine has a song like that. Roger Dietz does a song called "Sheep Dip." He didn't do it for like a decade at least.
Yeah.
And he did it a couple weeks ago at a thing I was at.
And he wants to forget it, right?
He really doesn't want to do it.
But people really like it.
People request it all the time.
I would imagine it's similar for like Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road. So yeah, it's just that it just won't go away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that Mr. Bojangles was a song that Jerry Jeff Walker just got tired of after a while.
I'm sure he started writing his own nasty lyrics to it, just to keep himself occupied.
Yeah. Give us another tune, why don't you?
Okay. I just turned the volume up on my guitar a little bit, just so you know, when I did that. For those
Okay.
technical people who might need to know.
beware.
Okay. Song called Satisfaction. In the village lived a maiden of glowing face and flowing hair, and though she's past, we'll still recall the lady loveliest of all. We made it a patchouli party. She flung her flute into the fire. I tried to turn to no avail. 'Twas she put fair in fairy tale. I close my eyes to concentrate on capturing the last, for I love the lady of the broken glass. The coals were cold and words were wanting, so onward to her home we flew. And as we touched, she had me know her heart was shattered, oh, so long ago. Close our eyes to consummate. Thus it came to pass that I loved my lady of broken glass. Mm-hmm.
When at last the love was over, a shimmering shard fell from her eye. She said the blood would stain 1,000 floors, were my heart to touch on yours. I closed my eyes to contemplate, and thus it came to pass that I lost my lady of the broken glass. Then I lost my lady of the broken glass.
Yeah. Pretty.
Thank you.
Magical sounding.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I wrote that song about a friend of mine. My roommate had a friend who was a cocaine addict, and she was radiant and vibrant, and yet had this dark side to her. And so I just started thinking of cocaine as being tiny bits of broken glass for some reason, and so I wove some broken glass references into the song and did it that way. Did you get all the glass references?
Yeah, I think I
The
did.
flute? Did you get the flute reference? She flung her flute into the fire?
I didn't get the connection, but what it...
It's a champagne flute. No one ever gets that. No one gets it. I just hit the microphone how many times?
Just once.
Good. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
That'll be $300, please.
Yes. This show is brought to you by the American Hearing Association, who now has to go in and help out the engineer. Sorry about that. No? Yeah, so, you throw your glass into the fire? That was the reference there, champagne from... Never mind. So,
I get it.
thanks.
Now I get it, now that you explained it 3 times.
Did we get it out here? Yeah? Yeah? Thumbs up. What? we need more audience, not less. Go, woo!
All right. So, just out of morbid curiosity, my morbid curiosity.
Yes.
Do you have a day job as well, or do you make a living being a musician?
Actually, neither. I had a day job for a while. For a while, I was temping in banks. Yes, your money's in my hands. And I made enough money so that I could stop working for a while and finance a CD that I spent all my money and time on. And now I'm back to and I haven't been gigging a lot. So now I'm starting to gig more. I'm going out to Philly and up to Boston this weekend and doing it, but it's a slow rise. The answer is I'm going to have to start going back and doing some temp work until I become, VH1 behind the music, Eric Schwartz.
Yeah, man. Well, we have, I think, enough time to do that last number. You're going to let me play some harmonica on this?
But I'm going to be honored for you to play some harmonica on this.
Beautiful. So, thanks for coming to share your music with us.
You're very welcome.
It was too short.
Thank you for having me.
Eric Schwartz.
This song is Mrs. Jenny. Will you love me, sweet Miss Jenny? I have come to make you mine. Take the flowers I have gathered. Take my jug of apple wine.
sweet